Hello and welcome to another episode of the Construction Corner podcast. I'm Dylan, I'm your host, and we do have an awesome guest for you guys today. But first, Matt, we are busy, and I must say that is a good thing, man. We are just talking before about how busy we are. I mean, what's going on in your neck of the woods?
Busy is an understatement these days, man. I need like three of myself right now. It seems like, it's a good problem to have because it means the industry is still booming and projects are still coming online, but it's crazy. It's probably the craziest I've ever seen it. Like there's no letting up, and there hasn't been for 2 years. So I'm not complaining. Don't get me wrong. I'll take it.
Yeah, well, and I'm jet setting, and I must say, in all the travel that I've been doing here lately, like the airports are full, the planes are full, everything is booked out. And I was trying to book a last minute flight, and like most of the flights are booked up to fly out this weekend. So all, I guess, good indicators in the economy and it going strong, and construction continuing to build.
That's why we got to get you that jet.
We're working on it, man. We're working on it for sure. All right, guys, without further ado, we have an awesome guest for you today. Coleman Jones, who's from a small town in Northern California. And just remember, Northern California is basically anything north of LA, which is like 75% of the state. But actual Northern California, even geographically, Coleman raised through hard work and determination, which we totally love to hear on this show, and instilling everybody, whether it's hammering out dents, painting vehicles, cleaning cars, just all sorts of good hard work. Got his Bachelor of Science in Construction Management from California State University in Chico, which if you haven't ever been to Chico, it is a beautiful place. They've had some problems with fires in the last years, but it's an amazing place, and you should definitely add it to the list to visit. After marrying his high school sweetheart, a week after graduation, moved to Sacramento, where he joined Rudolph and Sletten, which is one of California's largest and most respected commercial contractors. After 11 years with R&S, Coleman managed several award-winning restoration projects, including medical facilities, data centers, corporate campuses, tenant improvements, demolition and abatement, and probably more challenging projects than we can list. For more than a decade, they're still loving the ride, and he's got two amazing boys, and blessed with the opportunity to adopt their niece as well. Focus on family, faith, hard work, which again, core values that Matt and I both share. So Coleman Jones with Jones and Lombardi, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, welcome aboard. You may be one of the first GCs that we've talked to since I've been on the show, so I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, nice, sweet.
Usually we've got either subcontractors or designers or residential guys, so I'm sure we'll have lots to go back and forth on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we've done one residential project, and that was for a commercial client that we do a ton of work with. But yeah, we stay in the commercial space, and that's where we thrive.
Nice. Yeah, us too. We did one home in the last 5 years, and it was for our office manager, so that doesn't really count.
Right.
Well, Coleman, I guess really you've gone to school for construction, getting a job in construction, and now running your own general contractor. What made you decide to go this route and go and get a construction science degree and stay for the better part of 2 decades?
It was not a direct path. I came out of high school thinking that I wanted to be a computer science major, and so I was in community college doing all of that, and I had an econ teacher that told us one of the assignments was go to the end job that you want and shadow that person for a day. And so to accomplish that task, I did that. and I was terrified. I was in this little dark room and there was like 12 people punching out code. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? This is not what I want. And so I was a little lost from there. And then the funny thing was my dad had a friend that had just bought a Ford GT supercar. And he's like, hey, you want to go check this car out with me? I was like, yeah, sure. And so we went and we checked this car out, and I was like, what do you do? And he's like, oh, I'm a residential developer. And I was like, nice. And so I was at Butte College, as Chico State has a construction management program. I'm doing construction management. So I went over there, and I was kind of lost during high school, but in college, my best friend was my biggest competition. And so we just thrived off of competing against each other through college, and it built me up huge accolades with the dean of the college. And at the same time, I'm competing for internships, and I do an internship with one of the largest residential contractors. I get out there, and after just a few weeks, a couple months, I'm running all the front end stuff, and I was bored to death. And I thought, man, I made another mistake. Like, these guys out here, my managers are just praising me on how quick I could pick it up. And I'm like, this is easy. This is not what I thought I was getting myself into. So I almost scrapped the school thing and went back to my dad's body shop, because he has an automotive repair shop that I started working at in middle school. But then I was like, you know what? I'm going to do one more internship, and it's going to be in San Diego, and it's going to be with a commercial contractor. So that's all I focused on the next time. And I had multiple offers to go down to San Diego. I ended up interning with Rudolph and Sletten. We were on the Museum of Contemporary Arts in downtown San Diego, and I just fell in love with how difficult and how cool that sort of construction could be. So from there, I hired on with R&S, and I had started building the Kaiser Roseville Women's and Children's Center, which is a 4-story, $200-some thousand project. It's OSHPD governed. There's a neonatal intensive care unit in there. There's operating rooms. There's everything. And so that's kind of what I started cutting my teeth on. From there, did some other really interesting retrofit projects, started managing, moving up the ladder. And I kind of felt like I kept getting suppressed. Like, I would have ideas, and the executives above me would be like, no, too crazy, don't like it. And just after a lot of that, it just felt defeating. I didn't see much vertical movement. I was told that I was ready for the promotion, but I had to go to Bakersfield to run a 200,000 square foot medical office building. And that just doesn't work with my life. Like, I'm dedicated to the family, and moving out of town is not what I was about to do, because there's so much divorce in construction. There can be a lot of awful things when you accept a project that's out of town. And so I never wanted to be an absent father. I wanted to coach the kids. And so from there, I ended up meeting another guy at Rudolph and Sletten, and we used to hang out on the weekends and have drunk conversations about being able to do this ourselves and blah, blah, blah. And so from there, we started getting serious and started talking about it when we were sober, and just started building towards the day that we were going to finally step out on our own. And that was in 2018 when we left the company and started on our own.
That's surprisingly similar to my story, including the drunken conversations, except for the guy I was having those conversations with ended up flaking out and went a different direction. But I still had the sober conversations with myself and skidded out of there. So how did the old company, and I apologize, I forgot their name, but how did they react when you and their other employee, your now partner, came to them and said, we're now competition, peace out?
Yeah, that's a funny story. So my business partner, Garrett Lamberti, he left Rudolph and Sletten a couple years before I did. He went to Boga Winery and started to be their construction facilities manager. So I actually took over his project. And when we were ready to leave, another guy in the industry that used to work for the same company, he left, started his own business. He leaked it to the senior VP of the office that we were starting this thing and we were leaving. So I never actually had the opportunity to fully go in front of the big boss without, he already knew when I was coming. Like I reached out to him and said, hey, we need to have a conversation. I went in there, sat down, and he said, so what are you going to tell me that you and Garrett are going out on your own? And it was like blindsided moment, right? I was like, yep, that's why I'm here. But all in all, they've been supportive. We don't take any work from them. I mean, they do $1 billion in California. They're union, we're non-union, and so I respect the hell out of them. They've given me this opportunity where I'm at. They've taught me. They've allowed me to grow and learn. And without them, I would be way further behind.
That's cool. It's always nicer when it works out that way versus them, looking out to crush you or something. Do they ever hand work to you? Like stuff that's either they can't handle or they don't want?
No, I mean, there's been talks because I know a lot of people in the larger companies that have moved from that company, and there's been talks about other work, but no, nothing. There's nothing been handed to us. You know how it goes.
Oh yeah, I get it. I brought it up because when I left my former company, we had those talks, and actually we set up a program, and they like to call it, they were going to give me their scraps, and I left, and one of their clients followed me, and I went back. I met with the owner of the company, and I said, hey, I got to be straight up with you. This guy is calling me, and I won't pursue him if you tell me not to, but I'm just, man to man, we're going to talk about this. That was the last day I talked to any of those guys, and I never got those scraps. So
yeah, exactly.
So I get it.
It's made you better off, because I mean, it could have been a like no strings attached thing, but then on the other end, it could be where they tried to hold something over you, and then you have to have that hard conversation too. So I mean, it's always better to just cut ties. I was there for 11 plus years, and I don't talk to anybody there.
Yeah, I agree, man. There are never no strings attached.
Yeah, exactly.
In, I guess, some of the starting phases of when you guys went off on your own, like, help walk us through what those initial years looked like. And obviously, you've been around a while now, but for those first few years, for anybody that's getting started or maybe thinking about going out on their own, obviously you knew what to do, you knew the processes. It's another thing to build your own systems, but if you want to kind of maybe help us walk through what that looked like, and just maybe how hard and the reality of going out and starting your own deal.
Oh, it's easy. You just you make a website, and then people just start pouring in. Our first project it came through Garrett from Bogle, the head winemaker, had a buddy in the St. Helena area that made corks for wineries. And they were looking for a construction manager, not a GC. They needed somebody to watch over their GC. And we kind of finagled our way in, like, hey, we have a company, we have a business, and we can totally do this. And so we worked our way in with that. So we proposed as a construction manager to watch over a contractor that we now compete with, which is a whole different story. And when we got that yes from the company, it was like, well, we can't do our day job and focus on our company at the same time. So it is right now, we're drawing the line. We have to leave, because when you're doing that sort of thing, it just doesn't work doing it as a side hustle.
Yeah.
So before that, we had gone through different things. Like my wife and I did the Dave Ramsey Financial Peace University, and like paid off all of our debt, saved up a ton of money, like more money than we needed, but at the same time we were super afraid of leaving like a salary where I was making, you know, six figures, and then gas card and car allowance and bonuses, all this stuff. It was just like, it was scary. So with that background, that foundation, financially, I knew that I was good for like 2 years. Like if I don't get a paycheck for 2 years, I'll be good. But we got this CM job in, and we decided to take it. The owner actually did not like me. I was going to manage it, and because Garrett thought there was a little bit of conflict with Bogle, and so he was wanting me to do it, and I was all for it. The owner didn't like me, and he said the only way that I'll do this deal is with Garrett. So we're like, all right, that's fine. So we got that down, and so I leave RNS, and then I'm at my house, and I'm going from managing millions of dollars and a substantial team to sitting in my dining room converted over to an office with nobody around me all day, nobody to manage, and thinking, oh my God, what did I get myself into? What do I do? And so I just started reaching out to contacts that I had in the past. And it was one of the most difficult things, because I've never been really good at telling you how good I am at what I do. I've always kind of been more humble and wanted to prove it. But you can't get an opportunity if you don't ask for it. And so that was the hardest thing, like just making a bunch of cold calls. And we were leaning on our past mentors also. We had a great guy that mentored Garrett at Rudolph and Sletten. Garrett worked for him, and he would introduce us to people we didn't know. And he would invite, like we would set up lunch, and we'd go out and we would talk to the contact, and it was commercial developers, it was space planners, it was designers, and we'd have lunch with them and then ask for an opportunity, and then they would provide that opportunity. And so we just kept doing that, working our relationships and then making cold calls. And I remember one of the first jobs that we did, I had been pressing the parents of one of my kids. My oldest son was playing baseball, I forget what, like AA or something, and knew that one of his teammates' parents worked for this big company out in Rancho. And so I kept like hounding them, like, hey, how do I get in? How do I get in? How do I get in? And so finally, after a few months, we got invited to bid one of their projects. And so we did a job walk, and I was in the middle of bidding this project, and the facilities guy calls me out of the blue Saturday morning and says, my demo guy can't come and demo these bathrooms, and I have tile going in Monday. Can you demo these bathrooms over the weekend? And I was like, yeah, we'll make it happen. So I made some calls, and we were able to make that happen. And then that turned into more work and more work with that company. But it was just Garrett and myself all of 2018, and we were able to do about 750,000 that year in revenue without anybody else. And then we moved into the next year to where we like doubled and hired our first person, and then fired our first person, and then hired two more guys, and from there it's just been kind of walking our way up.
That's awesome. So what kind of does the company profile look like today? How many employees do you have, and do you guys self-perform work, or are you just management and supervision?
We are mainly management supervision and self-perform minor things. We have 7 guys out in the field, 11 total on payroll. And so if there's like miscellaneous demo, cleanup, miscellaneous framing, installation, things like that we'll do, but we've never taken out any loans or debt on the company. We both just put a few $1,000s into this bank account, and then we built up from there. So we had thought about self-performing things. It just requires more capital, and if you don't have the capital internally, you have to go out and get it externally, or you build yourself up. And so we're working on building ourselves up.
So is your target to eventually self-perform something?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
possibly. I mean, it's hard to think that because we work with the same subcontractors over and over and over again. And
That's where I was going. Yeah.
like, it's a relationship thing. And I don't know if I would take on full trades, maybe more like miscellaneous stuff, or like if our demo guy is too busy, like our guys will roll in and they'll demo something, things like that. But we really like and we really value the relationships that we've built over the past years with our subcontractor group.
And that's huge. I mean, we sound like we're very similar companies anyways. And, that's our big thing too. And you can't replace those relationships. And we've toyed with the idea, of starting a small carpentry unit, for really small stuff. But even that, like I've got carpenters we've worked with for 30 plus years as a firm. I don't know. There's always that weird animosity. Like, do I go to Carpenter A and say, hey, by the way, I'm going to start banging a hammer now, but don't worry, we're not really competing. And
yeah,
I don't know. We've just always kind of voted that it's better to do what we do best and let our guys, our bigger team, do what they do.
Yeah, I would say like we need our business, our guys, we need to like true up, fix the places that we're lacking before we ever decide to step out and do something else. Like there's so much improvement that we could do internally before we pick up more.
Oh, for sure. I was poking around your LinkedIn site, and you had an article there from the Sacramento Business Journal, and they were listing at least what they estimated your revenue to be for like 18, 19, and 20. And whether it's completely accurate or not, you guys are flying off the charts from what it looks like.
Yeah, we were recognized for the fastest growing company in the Sacramento area for 18, 19, 20. But when you're a startup and you have $750,000 in revenue, and then you go up to $8 million, it's like it's substantial. I will tell you that last year, 2021, we went into the year with a $3.7 million ground up on the books, and then 3 other warm shell ground up on the books. So we were going into the year with $7.5, $8 million worth of work. And so we kind of took our foot off the gas pedal. We brought guys in to fill those projects, and those projects never happened. And it took us a good 8 months, 10 months to rebound from that. And we kept all of our guys on payroll. We doubled them up, tripled them up on projects where, technically we shouldn't have. We probably should have laid some of the guys off, but it's like we're trying to build a family. So we took the hit. The company took a huge hit last year, and it was difficult. I mean, it was definitely one to remember. I'll never do that again. So it was thankful we were able to make it out without too much, but we did take some steps back because we were getting ready to buy a building to move into our operations into, and we used our capital to keep everybody going because they have families, they have mortgages, and so it was just a learning thing. Right now we were so aggressive, and we never want to get into that situation again. So we'll figure out how to do the work. But back then we felt like we had the work. And so it was, all right, let's prepare to get ready to do this, and not so much focus on getting more work in, because we were like, how are we going to do all this work already? So it was definitely a learning curve. And last year, honestly, it was mentally is difficult. You get recognized for the fastest growing company, and your revenue is just way lower from the year before, and it's it's difficult.
Yeah, it's those lumps though that you take those lumps and you grow from them. I mean, that's you found out the holes in the boat theory really quick, it sounds like. And we do the same thing. And my business partner and I will argue frequently because we have a pretty nice backlog of work right now. And he's more of that mindset, like, okay, let's just focus on what we have on paper and keep doing it and building. But I kind of have that, no effing way. I got my foot on the gas. We're going to keep filling those coffers, because the biggest thing about a construction company is that beast. It is a hungry son of a gun, and it is always hungry. And if you don't keep feeding it, the whole thing falls apart real fast.
Exactly. I mean, you grow, you scale, your overhead it's all, you bring on a new guy and then you're paying that, and it's always scary when your overhead grows and grows and grows, and it's like, oh my gosh, I have to bring in this much money to make sure that we're clearing payroll, and I need to have this much reserve in that account just to make me feel comfortable. But at the same time, it's like, that's what you have to do. You always have to keep pushing forward hard, getting more projects, scaling the company.
So well, you even talked about it in having a tough year last year, how important the relationship with your team was, as well as your trades, your contractors, your trade partners, your clients, the mentors that you have. How big of a role have relationships played into really everything that you've been doing?
Oh, relationships are key. We're not a public works contractor, so we don't go in, we don't do a lot of low bid change order stuff. We do some work for the city of Sacramento, and we have a great relationship with them. We actually have some on-call contracts, and we have one project with them right now. But all in all, most of all of our work is relationships and repeat business and recommendations from others and referrals. So that's where we like to say. So it is like the most important thing. Relationships are the biggest thing. It's never about one project. It's always about making sure that we've exceeded expectations on this project, so they want to work with us on the next project and give us opportunities for the next 20, 30, 40 years.
People buy from people they know, like, and trust. I mean, that's and when you're in charge of millions of dollars worth of construction and building, that's pretty high bar. You want to make sure that you're really trustworthy, and obviously even from your first client with like Bogle, to where the owner liked your partner better, and that's who they went with, right? And having them on. So I could totally know from personal experience and all the stories you're telling that they keep coming back to the people that they know.
So how have you guys dealt with hiring? I mean, I know you just said you kept all those guys on through the last year, and that's awesome. That's really admirable. But I guess if you're looking for people now, or back when you were looking for people, how did you kind of broach those waters? Was it a difficult process to find the right people? You sound like you're a pretty culture driven organization. So was that a difficult spot to fill in any of those roles?
Yeah, absolutely. It's always difficult to bring people in, especially with the work environment right now. Everybody claims that they have all the experience in the world. They want a huge salary or hourly wage, and they don't have it. They don't have the base skills that we would look for or expect at a certain level. So it's very difficult. We've used online hiring ads. We've reached out to people that we've known in the past. We've looked everywhere, and we struggle with it.
Yeah, it's been brutal. I mean, we're currently running an online campaign now, trying to find people, and it's just what you said. Either you get the people who are probably qualified, but they want, 200 grand for a starting, a greenhorn, or they're not even close. We get so many civil engineers applying to work with us, and nothing against civil engineers, but that's not what we do, guys. Like, where are you coming from here? We need somebody with a certain skill set, and it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal.
Yeah, or we'll get somebody from the trades that was like doing fire sprinklers or something, and they're like, I'm a superintendent. It's like, well, okay, maybe you kicked ass in your world, but GC world is way different than single trade world. And or they'll say that they've been running jobs forever and they're a superintendent and they can't provide a simple schedule. And like that's the biggest thing. Like, you tell me you're a superintendent, here's my laptop, build me a quick schedule, because you should be able to do it in 3 to 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, I agree. Have you had to deal? Go ahead.
It's funny because we've done that. We've hired somebody and we made the mistake. We didn't test them, and it's almost like they don't know that we know what we're doing. Garrett and I have been deeply involved, learning every single aspect. Now, we don't know everything, but we know enough to know how to do everything needed for a project. So if you're coming in and telling us that you can do this, and then you provide something that is like my son could do, it's very frustrating.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you had to deal with either friends or family coming to you to try and score those seats at the table?
Not so much. I have my little brother still works for the company that I came from at RNS. He hasn't specifically said bring me on, and I don't know. I grew up working for my dad in a body shop. My older and younger brother, they both worked there. I saw how insane that was, and what I do and how professional this company needs to be. There is no room for any sort of family drama or anything like that.
Yeah, I hear you. I've never seen it really work well when people bring in family. You had mentioned, the subcontractors asking you or trying to tell you they're qualified. We deal with that a lot. And it's a tricky situation too, right? Because I'm friends with a lot of these guys. And so now I've got one in particular that's asking me if he can come work for us because he sees we're hiring, and having that conversation with someone that, I do know, like, and trust the guy. However, he's just not the right fit, and he never will be. And trying to put that in terms that doesn't come off like a giant asshole is a little tricky sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, it can be difficult. I would say that for our projects that we're doing right now, between a few hundred, actually between $10 and a few million dollars. If you get the smaller jobs, you get a $300,000 job. If you have the right person, they just don't know, but they're willing to learn. As long as you teach them, you lead them, you give them the systems and processes, then that person is the guy that I like, because we can help grow them into the person that can run these multi-million-dollar projects.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, finding culture fits first, and then teaching all the skills after. And then having those systems in place to easily teach makes the whole process a whole lot better. Coleman, before we kind of have some wrap up questions, where can everybody find you?
Well, if they need my services, they can go on my website at jnlbuilders.com. I'm on Instagram at, I think it's coolman_Jones. I think that's what it is. But yeah, I'm so focused on work that I'm starting to try and post more about the business and the industry. But right now it's just the days just are slammed.
I get it, man. I get it. And guys, we'll put everything in the show notes below. Coleman, one of the big things that we like to ask our guests is, and we've covered maybe some of this here today, but what's maybe the biggest problem that you see in the industry? And then what can we do together to try to help solve it?
I think the biggest problem in the industry is that the tradesmen positions have been downplayed over the last several decades. Like, it's not a good thing. It's not honorable to be in the trades. And that is complete BS. I mean, we need qualified people. Everybody does, to help build these projects. And so I think that's one of the things. I think a lot of entitlement is rampant throughout every industry. People just want so much, and they think that owners sit at the top of this hill or this mountain that was made out of money, and we're just like hanging out up there, just, raking it in while they're building the company for us. And that's just not the truth. We work so much harder than everybody in at least our organization, but it's one of those things that we chose to do. Like, I don't complain about it. I don't tell everybody that I work so many hours a week. I work weekends. It's like, that's what I want. That's where I feel alive. I'm building a big thing that I left. Reason that I left was because I wanted to build a company, not just projects. So I want to build this company big enough to where these guys can elevate their lives within this umbrella that we are. And so entitlement just erodes that. Not being patient, not understanding that success comes with a lot of hard work over a long period of time is just, it's difficult, because we have conversations with our guys all the time. And one of the things that Ed Milet said on Arte a few weeks ago was like, outlast the temporary. It's, I don't know if you picked up on that, because I know you guys are in Arte. And it's like, if you're able to outlast the temporary, it's going to get better. Everything is difficult in the moment. And so if you can work through that, the only people that fail are the ones that quit. So just get up and do it and keep going. So I think that's a big thing. I think there's issues with the title of tradesman that's negative, which it definitely isn't. All these guys have earned my respect. And then entitlement and laziness is rampant.
I wholeheartedly agree. We talk about that a ton, and it's as a society, we need to make some serious changes about how we view and rate different professions and different, occupations.
Yeah. Even today I put out a episode where talking about basically this exact thing, where a lot of, specifically for like DBEs that were entitled or get work for not doing anything. And that's been from a design side where at the end of the day, we have to pick up the slack for them to make sure that, design gets out and everything else. But it's still across the board that, at the end of the day, construction, in learning your craft, it takes years to get enough reps in on the same skill or trade or portion of your project, right? Like, you don't lay concrete every day. So to get enough reps to do it, or do ties, or to design a building from an electrical standpoint. Like, you don't do the same things every day, and you might not have enough reps in your projects to gain the skills, right? Which why it takes so much longer within construction to gain the skill sets that you need to be great at your job. So for, I think, a lot of the coming up in the industry is that they're used to things happening so fast, where with us, it's a longer time horizon because of the rep cycles for doing a specific project, right? Like for some of the big projects you talk about in 200,000 square feet, that's 24-month build cycles, or 18 to 30 months, depending on what's getting put up. Like, it's a long cycle to go through, and then to see enough of those, right? You've got to go through 10 years to see enough cycles. And then the other thing that, like, we really talk about is, construction. It's a great industry that you can make great money in, that you can build a real career in. It's not going anywhere. You can't export construction overseas. It's always going to be here. And then on top of that, like, that you're building the communities around you, as long as you do a good job, that building should last for, decades to come. Right. And it's something that you can tell your family. Like, I'm sure that anybody or anyone in their family that worked on, like, the Empire State Building, they tell that story of, my whatever grandfather or whoever was, or my great uncle Tom was the guy that hung steel, for the Empire State Building, or maybe a more recent project would have been Freedom Tower, or some of the, bigger buildings in your city. Somebody's telling that story, that they were a part of building the communities around you, whether that's in downtown Sacramento and the Capitol building to, downtown Detroit and GM Tower, right? Those stories are rampant through the community, and it's something to be proud of at the end of the day. And I think we often lose sight of that too, as a community.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's an industry built on pride, right? Built on the backs of hardworking people. And I mean, that's why we're doing this. We're doing this to try and change that viewpoint and bring back that pride, bring back the confidence in the trades, and, make the trades cool again.
Awesome. Coleman, any final thoughts for our listeners?
Sure. Let me think. I would say that if you're considering starting a company, construction, subcontractor, engineering, anything like that, just know that it is more work than you think that you put in right now, like exponentially more. And at the same time, it is more rewarding than anything you do right now. So if that is your passion, if you want to own your own thing, don't wait. Set specific goals in motion now to start something, and just do it. And hard work will eventually help you with your business and grow it. If you don't want to own a business, understand that the people that do own that business work incredibly hard if you have a good leader. Incredibly hard to keep that thing running. And so I just would think, like, there's some perspective that individuals need. It is wonderful owning my own thing. I am so glad that I'm not under the watchful eyes of executives anymore. But at the same time, it's definitely a trade-off. I lose time with my family, but I have to compartmentalize the time. I don't have multiple families. I have to compartmentalize my time. I have to be really strict about my time, and I run really hard. And then when I'm with my family, I give them full attention. It's been amazing. And thank you guys for having me on.
That's perfect, man. I couldn't have said it better. Coleman, thank you for joining us today. It was a good conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah, Coleman, thank you so much for coming on. And guys, a lot of lessons in here, a lot of gems on really what it takes to start, what it takes to go and get projects, both through relationships, through cold calls, through some uncomfortable things that you maybe don't want to do, late nights, weekends, and hard work and determination to provide for a team and their families and everyone around you. So Coleman, thank you for doing what you do and building great projects and providing for your team and their families, and really be an example for the construction community, and coming on and sharing your story of really what it takes to, have something to continue to build and provide for, again, your team members and the community at large, and provide those jobs and work for all the trade partners and subs that you do work with. So again, thank you so much for coming on. And guys, share the show if you enjoyed it, if you got something out of it. Outside of that, we will see you right back here next week. That is this episode of the Construction Corner Podcast. Until next time.